Guys, what's going on? Jameson here from Bad Publicity with Hollis and very special guest, Andrew Navaro. Recently announced, you probably, for you lurkers, we're on fantasyflightgames.com and you've seen his interview post, your blog post, your introduction. You've also might recognize his face from Team Covenant interviews in the past. So he's not a stranger to the scene. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. This is my first Gen Con.
That's awesome.
I come once every 50 years is what I'm telling people.
You're very optimistic. I like that.
Well, even if I come next year, I still can say I've come once every 50 because now I've been the next 50. So.
Gotcha.
So we're here to talk a little bit about Android Netrunner. But why don't you introduce yourself and just give a brief history, even though, like,
sure.
I'm sure everybody's heard the spiel, so we can just dive into version.
Yeah, I can give it like the super abbreviated version. So I'm the head of Fantasy Flight Game Studio. That was a new position that was created at the beginning of this year. Took over for Christian Peterson, and really what that means is I'm responsible for ultimately for all aspects of product development, delivering things. Delivering finished products to Asmodee for publication. I've been with FFG for almost 13 years. I've done a lot of different things. I started in customer service, moved into graphic design, did art direction, moved to the digital team for a little while, and then did creative direction, and then I just started doing this past year.
Yeah, it's like you did the old school ladder climb,
That's
right?
it. Yeah, apparently so.
No, I mean I think that's awesome, right? Because I always feel like sometimes people in the higher up positions would just say, sometimes they don't know the underbelly of the company,
Sure.
right? Like you see those undercover boss shows, right? But you've actually been there and you know the nooks and crannies about how the gears turn and fit together, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Do you feel that helps you out understanding your position?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I haven't done everything when it comes to product development myself, but I've at least touched all of it in some way, shape, or form. Like the one thing I haven't really done is like designed a game. I've done that on my own for fun, but yeah, never in a professional capacity. But yeah, I think being able to understand product development from a lot of different angles, is very, very beneficial to my job, obviously.
But one of the things that stands out with the IPs that you guys grab, it's like, Android Netrunner in particular, is you guys go very deep into flavor, and it's more than just a tabletop adventure. Like, your Android universe is encompassing so much more, right? You guys gotta have the branch off games. You have the original game that started it all, and now you're moving into novels and books. More stuff coming along the lines with that stuff, more for world development sake?
Yes, definitely. I talked about it at the in-flight report yesterday when we were talking about our Genesis role-playing game system, that we're going to be doing a source book for our Android setting for that system. We're in very, very early stages of that, so it'll be a while until you guys see it. But we are working on that, and we're very excited to do that.
I think there's been I've seen a couple people have a demand for a Fantasy Flight run RPG in the Android universe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely giving the people what they want there.
Yeah, we're really excited to do that too. It's something I think we wanted to do for a while, and doing this source book gave us the excuse to finally make that happen. So we're happy to take it.
Anything for you on that, Hall? Like, you're a big role player guy, right? So
yeah, like I really like a lot of RPG systems. I mean, I know that you said it'll be a while before it's in development, but I would love that. I would love to see something that's like an RPG fantasy kind of plan that is in the world of Android. I think that I know that actually there's even a group already talking about like taking an existing system and modifying it so they can play something in the same universe.
Yeah.
So I would love to see what FFG has, coming out of the box with that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, well, with Genesis, I don't know if you've like used any like generic role-playing systems. There's the voice of God informing us about something. We're at the X-Wing tournament right now, stealing a table. All right, all right. So Genesis is it's a system that you're supposed to take it and apply it to the settings that you love, and it has tools in that book to help you adapt the rules of Genesis to whatever you want. And even within that book, there's a very, very small section on Android specifically, just as like a sample.
Yeah.
So if you didn't want to wait for the source book, you could totally take our Worlds of Android book, take the Genesis book, and then make a bunch of stuff yourself. Or you could just wait and use that Worlds of Android book and the rules that come out with the setting specific book. So if you really want to get into it right away, you totally can.
Well, we wait for
Starting a game tomorrow. D&D campaign, not D&D, Android campaign, ready.
Me personally, I prefer to wait for you guys to put the polish and spit and shine on.
Yeah, let us do the work for you.
Yeah, rather than me come with all my loose papers or something.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
I don't think anything really tops the production value that you guys put into some of your games. I mean, we mostly deal with the card games, so we see the art and how that bleeds perfectly throughout, and like the stuff in the larger books, those big pull-out maps that you guys had commissioned out for it.
Yeah.
So I'm more of a wait for us, the final rub to come, the shine to be put on. Yeah. So we're really excited for that.
Awesome.
You guys have any other Hollis and I both have read the 3 mini novellas and stuff like that. So
awesome.
I mean, to me, when those things get quote unquote spoiled online, those are my favorite spoilers. That I know that the story is growing, because the work that were put into those were phenomenal to expand the universe, right? Like I think that's what people love about this game is they see a character on the card and they make up their own ideas for something, or they wonder and they ask questions, and then when something comes out like that, it's answering all the questions people have, and Dan did a great job with the Reyna story. Like I think that was phenomenal.
I didn't realize Reyna was as big as a badass as she is until I read that book. I was like, wow, she's super amazing.
So we're really hoping that wasn't like a mini trilogy, that kind of stuff continues.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to be able to do more. I mean, obviously it needs to be supported by the sales of it. And I think they've done all right. I think as far as I don't know if you guys have read any of our other Android novels.
The old ones. We did the Golem ones and
Free Fall.
There's another one I'm thinking of. I can't.
Yeah, the Identity Trilogy was Golem, Rebel, and there was the middle one.
Was it Free Fall? Oh, Mimic. That's what it was. Yeah. Where you have the Android with I can't spoil it.
That was pretty cool.
I
liked
it was cool.
Buy more books so you get more content.
Buy more
That's
books.
The name of the story.
Exactly.
And then we saw Damon in the last cycle end with Terminal Directive. Another spin, a game within a game, per se. So I mean, that was an incredibly unique way to package off a big box, and
maybe a little too big of a box.
Well, we figured that was Damon's choice. That was his send-off way.
No, you can pin that in, man. No, I can't just do it.
Classic. But so it's great to see. It's great to see you guys take chances. So we're as much as things have not everything's been locked down, top secret, and stuff about Netrunner. We're confident that it's not an IP that you guys are going to keep on the back burner. So.
Oh, not at all. I love that setting. That was the Android board game. Was at the time it came out, was the thing I was most proud of that I'd worked on, because generally speaking at FFG as a graphic designer, you're working with a lot of other people on a particular project. You may work on the cards and the tokens, and someone else might be working on the board and do the rulebook layout and stuff like that. So Android I did almost entirely, was entirely me. And that was kind of unheard of at the time for a graphic designer to do a project that big by themselves. It took a very long time. But anyway, when it came out, I was just over the moon proud about it. So I have a lot of personal attachment and investment in the Android setting.
Yeah.
So obviously now that I'm the head of the studio, it's one of the things I love the most. I'm not going to let it go away.
Yeah.
So
you get to make the choices.
So look forward to more Android things. For
that's
sure.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's vintage FFG, right?
Yeah.
That's probably when, what was it, you know, 3 or 4 people working in, you know, someone's garage at the time?
No. Actually, we were in a very short, like, I don't know, that was a long project, so it spanned a couple offices. But yeah, I think I finished work on that, and the one time I ever had a window. But after that, we moved to a space that was probably about as big as this table. I mean, it was pretty awful.
It's crazy how, like you say, like how far your game studio has come, where you actually have, you know, now you actually have to break down roles, right? Like you're head of studio, and the different design teams, and able to bring in more people and collaborate differently. And the licenses that you guys have acquired over the years, holding down the Star Wars one, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting perspective from dealing in talkings with, you know, like we developed relationships with Lucas over the years, Damon, now Michael Boggs. I think people perceive you guys to be a lot bigger than you actually are when you're just this kind of like, you know, this tight-knit little team like behind the scenes,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Do you feel that that strengthens the company as a whole?
That we're tight knit?
Yeah, or like keeping the size like that.
Oh, sure. I mean, obviously we're a lot bigger than, you know, back when we did the Android board game.
Right.
We're probably about triple the size. Like it's kind of hard to judge because all the creative stuff has been broken off from all the business stuff. So like the creative studio is like 60, 70 odd people. And like our creative staff like back then was probably, I don't know, 15 people, maybe 20. So
still, for the productions that you guys were putting out, like it's probably unheard of, right?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I just did what I needed to do. We just did what they asked us. We made things happen, and it was like magic.
You showed up, put in your 23 hours a day, and went home. Right?
right. No, I feel like one of the cool things about FFG is that we are you know, bigger than we were, but we are pretty small in the grand scheme of things when it comes to, you know, company size. But all the teams are kind of together in the same spot in our workspace. Like we have like all the LCG guys are in a room together, like our board and card guys are in a room together, our miniatures guys are in a room together, art team, etc. So I think that helps like really foster that sense of teamwork and collaboration and that tight-knit feel. But I think ultimately it comes down to just the quality of people we have at FFG. They're just good people.
Yeah.
And I think that above all, like, makes an environment feel welcoming and feel like a fan.
Hollis, you want to ask the big question?
Woo! All right. So the thing is, I've had a few questions. A lot of people came to me today just in browsing the tournament. And we started discussions on the game and like where the game is going, the potential, like what's good, what's bad, things like that.
Yeah. And
that kind of helped me generate some questions that I thought about that I wanted to ask you. So I guess really the first one would be, I came here this year, and the big thing is L5R.
Yeah.
Over 700 people in one tournament is massive. Yeah. I don't think you guys have ever had a tournament that big ever.
No.
Okay?
I'm not by a long shot.
Yeah. 700 people, over 700. So the ceremony starts, and I don't know if anyone, for those of you that don't know, that aren't familiar with L5R, the events for L5R is an event. It's not just show up and play the game. It's people dressed up as samurais with drums, carrying banners of the clan, and they march up, and people are clapping and cheering for the clan they love. And that, number one, that's amazing by itself.
Yeah.
But looking at like mechanically, looking at like the actual way as a player, how that affects you, there's this concept of sort of clan loyalty. And even in the organized play sector, it seems like there's a lot of attention being shown for L5R that way. So then we dial it back. We have Netrunner. Okay? So historically, Netrunner hasn't had anything like that before. So I guess my question to you would be, what feedback are you getting from the players of Netrunner regarding what OP is doing well, what OP isn't doing well, and like how can it improve?
Well, I'm not necessarily personally getting that feedback because all of the organized play stuff is on like the other side of the parking lot.
Right.
So like we can influence that a little bit, but it's they're largely their own entity, and they do their own thing. So we just trust that they're doing what's best for the game and what's best for the community, and they get all that feedback. And we get some of it, and like Michael might come and talk to me about some stuff. But so are you asking like what are they saying comparing Netrunner to L5R? Like, look at how awesome L5R is. Like, what are you doing for Netrunner?
I think they're looking at basically like the lore. Like, basically Netrunner has this amazing lore behind it, and in L5R it also has this amazing lore.
Yeah.
Except it feels like that lore in L5R definitely enhances and pushes towards a lot of events for organized play.
Yeah.
So I guess the question would be, influence-wise from the creative side with Netrunner, like, what are some good ideas, maybe feedback from you guys going to OP even, on how to improve the OP experience?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think, from my perspective, like I mentioned yesterday at the Info Report, like until I saw that opening ceremony yesterday, I really had people telling me like how big L5R was, but I clearly had no idea. Right. It was amazing. And I think when we first went into the process of like how we're going to do organized play for L5R, and that there was a big push to want to keep a lot of like the story events and like having the tournaments like push forward the narrative in a way where the fans were like really participating in that. Like, at first I was really resistant to that because we do a lot of careful planning, like when it comes to our lore and we come to like the trajectories of the stories that we do. So like the thought of like the fans influencing that, and honestly, just because it was unknown to me, like made me nervous. But as I've become more comfortable now with the idea and seen it like in practice and like how we're actually approaching it, it clearly greatly enhances the experience. And like that's really you gotta give credit to like the original CCG for making that happen. Yeah. And the only reason we did it is because the old CCG did it. So like in order for that to have happened with Netrunner, we would have had to have the forethought to be like, oh hey, L5R did this really cool thing, or is doing this really cool thing where they let the fan base influence the story. Could we do something similar? And we just simply did not do that at the time. But even when we launched Netrunner, we did not have the type of support structure and the size of staff that we have for organized play and all of the extra stuff that goes into making that kind of thing possible that we do now. So even if we had wanted to do it, like I don't think we would have had the infrastructure to actually make that happen. Going forward, I think the idea of having players influence story and having them invested in that way, clearly you can tell by the reaction yesterday and like how fervent those fans are and how they've this game hasn't been around for a couple years, like how long they've been involved with that, how excited it makes them feel, and how invested they are in it, how much they care and love. Care about and love the setting. Like, clearly everything that they were doing in the past for that CCG was working in that regard.
When you have people staying that late just to see what a vote turnout is, right?
Exactly. It's amazing. It's great. It's like it's really honestly like very eye-opening for me, and I was definitely wrong to be resistant to the prospect of it. So I'm glad that I'm glad that I was that I and we as a studio were pushed to make it more interactive because I think it obviously is already working out very well. So going forward, like I think it's obviously it'd be great to continue to do stuff like this with our other settings, with our other competitive games. It's just a question of resources and how much muscle we want to put behind it. And like it may not be obvious, but there's a lot of work that goes into like making the story stuff happen, like all that writing and editing and there's a bunch of artwork needs to be done, and like having the forethought with the core set of the game to have components in it that key off of organized play.
Katrina and Dan are just locked away somewhere, pounding stuff out.
They have the best job security, and FNG the best.
Right. So, but I feel like that's one of the things that really makes it work well is that Nate and Brad and Eric took the time to incorporate those role cards in the core set, like that. You can use them outside of the context of organized play, but they're really enhanced by that, and that's what they're intended for. So I think if we're going to do that going forward, we want to have it be more integrated like that.
And I think that we have faith that you guys can pull something like that off. I mean, if you look back historically, there's always been collectible card games. And when you guys produced them back in the day, you were collectible card games. We had Call of Cthulhu, Game of Thrones, and so on and so on. And then what you did is you took a risk and you saw an opportunity to change it and to then come up with this living card game system, right? So it came through so-and-so, and then again, short while after that, we announced, changes in the living card game system with the rotation happening. We haven't had a game go to rotation yet. I believe Netrunner will be
be the first.
The first one.
Yep.
Do you expect there to be any other tweaks or changes to the living card game system? Like now that you're looking back at the Netrunner experience and saying rotation was, this long, or I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But just maybe down the road when we see the next IP or brand launch or come down the pipe, do you think the living card game system will see tweaks or different changes into that? Or
yeah, well, I think with Netrunner, at the time when we had announced that we'd even be doing any kind of rotation, we were just ultimately very nervous about how people would respond
because it disrupted the living card game kind of belief system.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But I think in the end, and I think this is still true. We just always just want to do what's best for the game. So at the time, I think we really felt that we were almost being, I don't know, we were afraid to be super aggressive, but I felt like we were being as aggressive as we could be when it came to when we could do rotation. But then seeing it in practice, actually, through to now, I think that everyone that I've talked to about it seems to agree that it's taking too long.
Yeah.
It's too long, and there's too many cards. And I think that, Netrunner thrives on a smaller card pool. And I think that, unfortunately, it just took us a long time to realize that that's where it is. So I think hopefully when rotation happens, that'll help out. It'll help narrow it down a little bit.
Because then we'll start aggressively hitting those marks a little quicker for that rotation cycle.
But yeah, I mean, to your question, is there going to be change-ups to how LCG rotation happens in the future? I think we are definitely looking at that very, very closely. And like I said, we want to do what's best for the game. So, I mean, ultimately, when we looked at rotation, we're looking to CCGs, because CCGs are the only thing, I don't know, Magic might be the only thing that even has rotation. I don't know, I don't play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!, so I don't know people who do, so I don't know if those sets rotate.
Yeah, okay. They also rotate.
Okay, so, we look to CCGs when it comes to rotation because they're the only ones doing it. But in the end, an LCG is not a CCG.
Yeah.
So, in retrospect, thinking about looking to a CCG for what's best for an LCG, I don't know. We maybe should have thought of that a little bit differently. But we really didn't, have any standard to go by. So we're just making the best choice we can make.
You guys made up the category, right? You make the rules up, and if it's the first one, right?
Yeah. So we made the best choice we can make. I think ultimately, seeing how it's played out, I think that just shows us that we need to think about it more carefully and maybe do something different going forward.
Yeah. Well, I think it's refreshing to hear, and I think people that listen and tune in. Hopefully that brings them comfort to know, from being in touch with some of the design teams and stuff like that, we know that you guys are plugged into the community, always listening, always watching and stuff like that. There's just the appropriate time as a business to make announcements, right? So, you know, we'll see what happens down the pipe.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Well, I was going to say that I've had talked to Netrunner players today that said they feel like at the present stage, you know, the cards that have come out this far have improved the overall health of the game. The design of the cards that have come out more recently in the last 2 packs have bettered the health of the current metagame in Netrunner.
That's great.
And so, you know, when you have both a healthy game and that rotation to come in to help keeping it fresh. You know, so if someone decides, hey, I can't play in Worlds this year, and they come back for the following Worlds, and the meta is completely different because cards are out. That like consistently keeps a healthy game.
Yeah,
because players are always, you know, doing something new whenever they come to Worlds.
Yeah,
every time.
So technically, there was a slight change in the LCG format already.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about how this rotation stuff is going to happen?
Yeah. So like I mentioned in the.
Okay. All right,
I got to dip out, guys. I'm so sorry, guys.
Dungeon adventure. I have to go. Right. You're not going to know what's going to happen with rotation.
It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Have fun.
Interview just got awkward. See you guys. See you later. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, I'll wait till this guy's done talking. So so at the in-flight report in the Q&A, you know, someone asked about rotation for Netrunner.
Yep.
I can't remember the specific question. But yeah, I announced that during the Q&A that we're not going to wait for the first pack in the next cycle after the Red Sand cycle to come out to rotate. We're going to, because it's unfortunately a little delayed, and I think that also plays to the issue with like keying off of a product release for rotation, because you know any change in production can like stretch that out to an unintended distance. So we're going to be doing rotation for Netrunner prior to Worlds, which should be good. Yeah. So I hope people are happy with that.
Yeah, there'll probably be a cheer that goes up somewhere across
the first 2 cycles will rotate out in advance of Worlds. I'm not sure like what the specific date is going to be, but yeah. So coming to Worlds, you know, this year in November, won't be able to rely on some of those old standbys like Caprice or Jackson Howard.
Man, the trusty old school ones, right? You guys are gonna have to think of new tricks. No, I think that's great news to hear. I think that's gonna bring a lot of relief to people. I think that sometimes people just have to have faith, right? That you guys, you know, do love the game as much as we love the game.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, maybe things don't happen on people's schedules the way they want, but at least you know, sit back and be flexible and just wait it out, right?
Yeah.
Things are coming. You can say that things are coming, right?
Yes.
There's the official things are coming from the head of the studios, right? Put it to rest. Andrew, is there anything else you'd like to kind of put out there?
Let's wait till Brendan stops talking about Game of Thrones finals. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just I've never really had a platform to say thank you to the Netrunner community and the fans of the game for making it the giant success that it's been. I really got into Netrunner like for the first couple of years, huge into that game, and to me, some people might say like, oh, you know, his worst referee, of course, he's going to say is huge into the game, and that's like, I don't get it huge really hardly into anything that we do because it's my job.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it all day long. So when I go home, I'll usually like to play video games or like hang out with my family or, you know, do something else with my free time. But Netrunner, when that came out, then I was just drenched in Netrunner all the time. Like all my spare time, I want more and more Netrunners. Just let me play more Netrunner, find more people to play Netrunner with. Could not get enough of that game.
It was mechanically, it's so sound. It's so unique compared to what anything else is out there. Right?
The just everything from the theme to the asymmetry of it. From a pure gameplay perspective, I love just taking clicks for actions. Just click to do a thing, just do the thing. There's no phases. I think it's just a fantastic game. I love all of the jargon. Like the first time I sat down to play Netrunner when we were in development for the core set, I remember playing like the old green and purple box, like the original, and Michael Hurley was teaching me the game, and I was like, you were going through like all the different terminology, and I was like, what the hell is this game? And I was like playing with him, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what's happening. But then about, like 45 minutes in, it just
clicked.
It clicked, and like I've been hooked. So I guess I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for being fans of the game, for supporting it.
Yeah, I
mean, participating, for watching this podcast.
No doubt about that.
For you guys doing stuff like this, it's great.
I think it's crazy when we sit back and we look at, you guys do, you lay the base for something, and then you see this community build up behind it so quickly and so passionately, right? Like, it's almost a little scary probably sometimes for you guys, right? When you have like, it's like opening your door and just seeing the world on fire, right? You're like, oh, look at it out there.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think not the world on fire, obviously. Like, hopefully you mean the most positive way for the world to be burning.
Or just, that like the crowd, right? Like you're behind the curtain on stage and you just hear the crowd roaring outside and you're ready to put on the show.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's hard to retain that kind of perspective. Like, the stuff that we're working on is... We're so much further in the future than where the consumer base is. So we're always, again, like, we make games, it's fun, it's awesome, and you guys get to enjoy them, and we love bringing you guys entertainment and joy. But in the end of the day, we're doing a job and working. We have things we got to get done. So we end up being very focused on the moment and what we have to do that's right in front of us. So it's really, for me, when it's coming to things like Gen Con, going to Worlds, it's like that's right next to our offices. I go back through the kitchen to get into Worlds. Like being at events like this and seeing the fans actually interacting with and enjoying the game, it's great. There's nothing scary about it. It's incredibly gratifying.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like we've touched on before, there's like Magic and Pokemon and stuff like that, and that's, Magic has that player base that, is never probably going to be like touched because of the history there. Mm-hmm. But what you guys have done, take a game and actually back it with this organized play structure and actively supporting something like this, right? Like we saw the extent of the 5 ring stuff yesterday. You guys have probably seen a lot of videos posted online about it. I don't think we can thank you guys enough. Like for me, it's nice to actually like be able to come face to face and say thanks for the effort you guys put in. Like it's not a walk in the park to put on events like this here. So,
well, you should thank those people at that podium up there. They're the ones doing all the work. I'm hanging out at a table talking to you.
I give a lot of respect out to Stuart and what him and the rest of the guys do.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much.
You're
welcome. We look forward to what is coming from you, and your support through the rest of the games, what's new, what's old, and I guess that's it, right?
All right.
Like, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
you're
for
welcome.
your time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.